you for a new week here on Hacker After Dark. We are certainly glad you are spending your Monday night with us. What have we got in store for you? Well, there's a lot of guests coming up tonight. A lot of good stuff, too, actually, what I think is good stuff. Florida State fans, you got a big commitment over the weekend here locally. Roderick Kearney, the four-star offensive lineman from Orange Park High School, commits to Mike Norvell. And the Florida State Seminoles was certainly looking at Florida. He was on an official visit to Florida this weekend, committed to Florida State about 30 minutes after he left the Gator campus. Wow. We're going to talk to Roderick Kearney about his commitment to the Florida State Seminoles. What was it about Mike Norvell? What was it about the Garnet and Gold that led him to make that decision? Seminole fans, you'll want to listen to that. That's coming up just before 9 o'clock tonight. Your newest commitment, Roderick Kearney of Orange Park High School. Coming up before that, Gator fan, you are panicking on social media, the message boards, my goodness. And we're going to get into that. That's going to be the big deal of the night in just a moment. But Zach Goodall of SI All Gators, he's going to join us to try to pump the brakes a little bit. What are you guys doing when it comes to Billy Napier and the Florida staff? You were never going to get that quarterback from California, at least not in the last couple of weeks. I was told 10 days ago that Rashada was going to Miami. And I was definitely told by Denny Thompson on the Gator Bites podcast late last week that Florida was not getting Jaden Rashada. So all you guys that were just flipping out yesterday at Rashada going to Miami, that was not a surprise. It did not catch people off guard. Florida, from what I've been told, pretty much knew they were not getting him for the last 7 to 10 days. So he goes to Miami, and good for Mario Cristobal. He appears to be a heck of a player. So we'll talk about Florida losing out on him and losing out on Kearney, the young man I just talked about that's going to join us later. It's going to Florida State. It was a bad day for Gator recruiting yesterday. There's no doubt about it. But screaming from the hilltops about Billy Napier already, Gator Nation, just hold on a second. More on that in just a moment. We'll start our NFC West preview tonight. It's already division number 6, the 6th week of our division previews. We will go to Los Angeles, check in on the world champions. We'll go to San Francisco. We will go to Seattle, but we kick it off tonight in Arizona. Kevin Zimmerman, ArizonaSports.com. What about Kyler Murray? How are they going to survive DeAndre Hopkins being suspended for the first 6 games of the year? And I bet you we're going to throw in a Christian Kirk question or two as well to Kevin Zimmerman. That comes up in the 9 o'clock hour. Finally tonight, Sean Devaney, my NBA guy, my go-to NBA guy from Heavy.com. I've had Sean on for years, and we'll preview what should be a very active NBA offseason, which began today with Kyrie Irving opting in, going to be back with the Brooklyn Nets next season. But as always, on Hacker After Dark, we kick it off with a big deal of the night. Denmark, let's do it right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
When I worked for a website called GridironNow.com for about 4 years, my main job, other than working here at 1010XL, was covering recruiting. I covered recruiting all over the Southeastern Conference, dabbled a little bit into the Atlantic Coast Conference. And it wasn't just the state of Florida. If a young man committed to Mississippi State from Jackson, Mississippi, I was on the phone with him. If a young man from Charlotte, North Carolina committed to Tennessee, I was on the phone with him. Over a 4-year period, I talked to well over 1,000 prospects, wrote well over 1,000 stories for that website. And I learned a lot in that process when it came to recruiting. But the number one thing I learned the most in covering recruiting for 4 years was the absolute euphoria of the fan base that gets a recruit, that, by the way, none of them have ever seen play, and the absolute panic that a fan base has when they do not get a recruit, which, again, most of whom have never seen play. Yesterday, Gator fan, that was awful on social media. That was not good. The panic, the negativity towards Billy Napier and the staff that, by the way, have never coached a game at Florida. Never coached a game. The amount of ground that Billy Napier and his staff have had to gain. Do you think seniors in high school start getting recruited when they're seniors in high school? Of course not. Guys that are seniors this year have been visiting schools for the last 2 to 3 years. Recruiting is now a 2 to 3 year process. It is not a 5-month process. And look, Mario Cristobal at Miami gets Jaden Rashada. Well, okay, Rashada's from California. Where's Cristobal been the last few years? Oregon. Right. I mean, look, there's geography involved. There's experience involved. But overwhelmingly, the message I have for Gator fan tonight is pump the brakes. You guys are unbelievable. And granted, every fan base is like this. Trust me. If Tennessee lost out on a big-time recruit in the state of Tennessee when I was covering recruiting for Gridiron, their fan base was up in arms as well. Same thing with Georgia. Oh, when Georgia lost Arch Manning last week, that was a prime example. And by the way, I don't know if they lost Arch Manning. Georgia fans believe they lost Arch Manning. Georgia fan, you were the same way last week on social media. Just let it play out. Billy Napier inherited a situation at Florida that was not good when it came to recruiting. That, quite frankly, was awful when it came to recruiting. He inherited the 76th ranked class, according to 24/7, when he took the job in December. He got that class into the top 20 by February. That's pretty good in recruiting cycle number 1. Now here we are recruiting cycle number 2. We're only 4 months in. February to June. They got 4 4-stars and 4 3-stars. By the way, not that you noticed, Florida did add a 4-star commitment on Saturday in defensive tackle Gavin Hill out of Gainesville-Buchholz. That's their second 4-star defensive lineman they've added in as many weeks. Remember Isaiah Nixon, the 4-star from Central Florida, the defensive end that committed to Florida about 10 days ago. I understand the frustration when a high-profile quarterback goes somewhere else. By the way, Rashada had 5 teams in his final 5. A&M was involved there. LSU was involved there. Ultimately picks Miami. Now, I will tell you that Grayson Howard of Jackson today, here in Jacksonville, commits to South Carolina. Roderick Kearney of Orange Park today, or yesterday, commits to Florida State. That is more of a conversation. Why these 4-star guys are not coming to Florida. And the Grayson Howard thing, to me, just my opinion, is he had been looking at South Carolina for well over a year. Florida got in on him very, very late, and it was too late to make up ground. South Carolina looked at him as a priority. And kudos to South Carolina. They came into Jacksonville, and they got a good one. Roderick Kearney, again, I don't know how much he was being recruited by Dan Mullen. That was a situation where Florida needed to make up a lot of ground. You will hear Roderick Kearney tell you, I will go ahead and give a spoiler. You will hear Roderick Kearney tell you on 1010XL inside of an hour that he knew for a long time he was going to be a Florida State Seminole. And you will hear it right from his mouth before 9 o'clock tonight. Trayon Webb, I got some interesting news on him today, the running back out of Trinity Christian, who's visited Florida like 7 times in the last 6 months or so, really since Napier arrived. There's a lot of people in Gainesville that think Penn State is very involved there. A lot of people in Gainesville that think Penn State is very involved there. By the way, Penn State just offered Colin Hurley, the sophomore quarterback at Trinity Christian, this weekend. If Florida loses out on Webb from Trinity, Kearney from Orange Park, and Howard from Jackson, don't hit the panic button, but at that point, there'll be more of a conversation. Yeah, they need to do better in Northeast Florida. They need to do better in Jacksonville and the surrounding area. But good grief, man, you got to give Billy Napier time. I had Gator fans texting me today, longtime season ticket holders, saying, what is with these Gator fans on social media? Why on earth are they acting the way they are? My response is simple. Every fan base does it. Recruiting panic is what it's called in the business. Fan bases just go into hysteria when they're not getting the guys they want. And you know what? It turns around at the snap of a finger. If Florida lands a 4-star tomorrow, all is right with the world. There are 6 months until early signing period. Well, 5.5 months. Mid-December. Take a breath, pump the brakes, let it play out. Your phone call is 641-1010. You can also hit me up on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010. Thank you to everybody down at Guns N' Hoses on Saturday night at the arena. What a great time. Awesome time. All the listeners that came up said hello. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys, gals, for listening to Hacker After Dark and to 1010XL. Congratulations to the firefighters. They got it done. A come-from-behind win. Firefighters 5, the FOP 4. It came down to the final bout of the evening. The firefighters got it done. They have the bragging rights until next year. But again, a great night in Jacksonville. Good crowd, too. Man alive. I think basically the entire lower bowl of the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena was sold out. And that doesn't include the floor seats. There were, I'm not good at estimating, but I would have to think 4,000-5,000 easy on Saturday night. It was a great time. And again, thank you guys for coming up and saying hello. And last night, the Stanley Cup Finals came to an end. My beloved Tampa Bay Lightning, who I've bled and sweat and cried with for the last, 60-some-odd days. They fell to Colorado. Denmark, it was hard to be angry, though. I'm still celebrating the joy of having 2 bandwagon Stanley Cup trophies. And Colorado was a fun team to watch. I got no issue with Colorado, no issue at all. So kudos to them. They were clearly the better team. I would have loved to see it go 7 games. That's my only flaw. I wish Tampa Bay could have found a way to win last night so that we would have had a Game 7 tomorrow night in Denver.
Colorado has won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. It's good, Denmark. You've been waiting on that one. But no, if it was a team that I did not, if it was the New York Rangers, because my buddy was a Ranger fan and he was talking mad trash at me when they were up in that series, that would be one thing. But I got no ill will towards Colorado. Kudos to them. And I'll tell you this, no matter who wins, seeing that Stanley Cup being delivered to that ice and seeing those grown men basically burst into tears, whether you're a hockey fan or not, we're all sports fans. That is the greatest trophy presentation in sports. I love the Lombardi Trophy, the Larry O'Brien Trophy. They're all good moments. That Stanley Cup celebration is something else, man. The handshake at the end of the series. NHL does it right in that regard. There's no doubt about that. Hacker After Dark on a Monday. We are streaming for your viewing pleasure. YouTube. Go to 1010XL YouTube. Click on 1010XL at youtube.com. You'll see Hacker After Dark there. Be sure and like and subscribe. You get notified every night. Hacker After Dark is on, which is every night. We are on the radio here on 1010XL. You can also stream us live on Twitter. Just go to my personal Twitter handle, at Ryan Green 1010XL, at Ryan Green 1010XL. We are there until 10 o'clock tonight. Coming up next, we'll get into the world of the National Football League. ESPN.com did something that I really like, and it's a guy we've talked about, but it's a guy that you're seeing more and more in the conversation for the Jaguars coming into 2022. They asked all the NFL reporters, in this case Mike DiRocco, our guy D-Rock, who covers the Jaguars for ESPN.com, who was the one player this offseason in OTAs and minicamp, the one surprise standout for the Jaguars. I'll tell you who he said. I agree with him. And this guy's getting more and more press coverage as the days go on. That's next. Hacker After Dark on a Monday night, and we're glad you're with us, Jacksonville.
Can't get enough Jaguar football?
Get ready for
Mike Dempsey, Fat Tony, and a cast of dozens.
Aren't you forgetting something?
Jaguars Today, 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
It's summertime, and nothing beats fresh seafood and sunshine in Crescent Beach, Florida. Chris here with Safe Harbor Seafood, and I want to invite you to take a short trip to Crescent Beach and come eat the freshest seafood in Northeast Florida. The views are awesome, but the seafood is what will keep you coming back. Don't forget Safe Harbor Mayport either. Both locations serve only the best daily. So plan that date night or a day at the beach at Safe Harbor Crescent Beach and come see what everyone knows. We here at Safe Harbor only serve the best.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Regular movement is key to so many health benefits. Aim for at least 10,000 steps a day. Decide to only take the stairs if you're walking less than 6th floor. Never park in the first 10 spaces of the parking lot. Walk during your work breaks. Get up 10 minutes earlier in the morning and take a short, brisk walk before the chaos of the day starts. There are so many easy ways to stay active. Let's get moving, Jacksonville.
Years ago, when Harrell and Harrell was growing, we had a decision to make whether we were going to grow into the state or even beyond. And we decided that we were going to stay here in this community in Northeast Florida. That it's staying here and not looking at where's the next place that we can go or how can we get bigger, because bigger is not necessarily better. This is our home, this is where our families are, this is where our friends are, and this is where we're going to stay.
Offices Jacksonville.
Maximize the beauty of your home with custom-made windows and patio doors from Renewal by Anderson. Right now, buy one window or patio door and get one 40% off. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Visit rbafla.com for details. Offer expires June 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement company of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CGC 1527613.
Jeff Prosser here. Do you have a damaged roof on your home? I did too, so I had Ken Lawler and his team help me get my roof replaced through my property insurance. Ken, tell us how it works.
Jeff, our team walks you through the process and eliminates the confusion that comes with filing an insurance claim and getting it properly settled. It's all free if we don't recover money for your claim. If you have a damaged roof, call Fifth Element Adjusting or visit FEAclaims.com. If you're happy with the outcome of your claim, Fifth Element Adjusting will not be able to help you. Ken Lawler, DFS number P213199.
Captain Kevin Favor here, and do you store your boat and boat trailer separately? If so, I want to tell you about Stack'em Storage. They store your boat trailer in a secure warehouse out of the elements, and here's the cool thing. Stack'em Storage will pick up your trailer from you, store it in a secure warehouse, do a 5-point inspection, and deliver it back to you where and when you need it. Call Captain Pat at 962-9605. Use code FAVOR, that's F-A-V-E-R, and get a $50 gift card to Strike Zone. Visit stackmstorage.com.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, presented by FIS, takes the field this season at One-to-One Financial Ballpark as the AAA affiliate of the Miami Marlins. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game, and kids run the bases after Sunday games. Call 358-2846 or jackshrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Estate cleanouts, hoarding cleanouts, old appliances, and even tools?
There are tons of reasons why you or someone you know may need expert help clearing space. J-Dog Junk Removal will responsibly help you free up space. That means when they leave your place, it looks better. Whether it's you or a loved one that needs one type of clean out at your home, trust the veterans at J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran owned and operated. Call 844-GET-JDOG or visit jdog.com.
Hey, Rural Pest Services here. Have mercy, the heat and afternoon thunderstorms are here. With that, we get the skeeters. And for the transplants, mosquitoes. At Royal, we offer a monthly, bi-weekly, or one-time mosquito suppression service. The treatment process offers up to a 95% knockdown on all mosquito activity. So let Royal help you enjoy that backyard oasis this summer. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate.
Get recruiting tips and advice from area coaches, pros, athletes, and their parents. Plus better ways to train as B3 bettors Jerry and Sanders and A.D. Roberts host the Amateur's Edge Show. Saturday from 11 to noon on 1010XL. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. This just in on Hacker After Dark.
See, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. I mean, literally, we just did an entire segment about pumping the brakes on recruiting. Take a deep breath. Let it all play out. Sharif Dennison from right here in Jacksonville, Bartram Trail High School. Guess where he just committed to 10 minutes ago? The University of Florida. I've reached out to Sharif on Twitter. Hopefully we'll hear from him tonight. If not, I'll try to get a hold of him tomorrow. I know it is kind of late. Probably wants to celebrate with his family. But yeah, Florida got some bad news yesterday. They get a piece of good news tonight. And the good news tonight is twofold. Not only do they get an Under Armour All-American, not only do they get a guy that's a 4-star on most of the websites, they get a guy from Northeast Florida. You lose out on Roderick Kearney from Orange Park. You lose out on Grayson Howard from Jackson. You get Sharif Dennison from Bartram Trail 3 hours later. That is recruiting in a nutshell. No question about it. So for all you Gator fans, I'm not saying the entire fan base was doing this, but you know who you were, that were on Twitter just going ballistic yesterday. Deep breaths, man. You just added another 4-star in the defensive back room. Sharif Dennison of Bartram Trail, an Under Armour All-American, has committed to Florida. Again, we'll try to get in touch with him this evening. If that doesn't work, I have no doubt that I can probably get him tomorrow or Wednesday at the very, very latest. 641-1010 is the phone number. If you want to get involved on Hacker After Dark, you are more than welcome to do so. All right, into the world of the National Football League. Couple of things really stand out. Again, our NFC West preview will kick off later on this evening as we will head out to Phoenix, Arizona. Check in with Kevin Zimmerman, ArizonaSports.com. What about Kyler Murray? What about DeAndre Hopkins? What about DeAndre Hopkins being out for the first 6 weeks of the year? Fantasy football players, don't forget that. D-Hop is suspended and will miss the first month and a half of the season. That's a big deal for Arizona. That's probably why they made the trade for Hollywood Brown out of Baltimore. Of course, Christian Kirk is obviously no longer there as well. ESPN.com today asked each one of their NFL Nation reporters to give their most surprise standout of the offseason. Who was the guy that stood out the most in OTAs? The guy that stood out the most in minicamp that you didn't really expect? And I believe it was our buddy Mike DiRocco, D-Rock, as we lovingly call him. It was. That put this nominee on here. And it's a guy that's name keeps popping up. It popped up on a CBSSportsArticle.com last week. I believe also the centerpiece of a Pro Football Focus article last week. And now he's the centerpiece of the Jaguar-related portion of an ESPN.com article. And that's Laviska Shenault. Laviska Shenault is getting a ton of preseason love. Laviska Shenault, at certain points this offseason, we didn't know if he was going to be a Jaguar in 2022. Remember the talk about trading Shenault? Remember all the talk about what can you get for him? He's been an underachiever. He's been a disappointment. Drops the ball too much. That one I do agree with. He needs to clean that up. But I think, like when it came to Gator recruiting, if you take a step back, when you talk about Laviska Shenault, you take a couple of deep breaths and you start realizing what he's accomplished in 2 years here. One of which, when he had nothing at quarterback, when they were rotating Gardner Minshew, Jake Luton, and Mike Glennon at quarterback, and last year when he had a rookie in Trevor Lawrence that at points of the season looked like a rookie. Translation, Laviska Shenault hasn't exactly had the best quarterback play here either for his first 2 years. And despite all that, he's caught 121 passes for over 1,200 yards. I know he needs to get down the field more. I know he needs to make more explosive plays, and he needs to stop dropping the ball. But when did we get to the point in Jacksonville, Florida, when we have struggled with wide receivers so much that Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell, two guys, by the way, that haven't played here in over 17 years, are head and shoulders, night and day, better than any wide receiver the Jaguars have ever had in the 17 years since? It's not even close. Who are we to complain about a guy that's caught 121 passes in 2 years? But obviously the Jaguars felt they needed to upgrade the wide receiver room. That's why you go out and you spend big money on Christian Kirk. That's why you go and you spend pretty decent money on Zay Jones. And that's why you go and you pay Evan Ingram what they paid him. What, $9.5 million for 1 year? A prove-it deal for Evan Ingram? But think about that wide receiver room now with Christian Kirk, with Marvin Jones, with Zay Jones. How much freer will Laviska Shenault be as a fourth option? How much freer will Laviska Shenault be with a dime corner covering him from the opposing defense? Or an outside linebacker being matched up with him on certain instances? You then throw Travis Etienne into the mix. And I got to tell you, again, perhaps I'm being too glass half full. And perhaps that game against Washington will happen on the second Sunday in September. And all this will be a dream and it's going to look awful. Reality will set in, if you will. But I look at the potential that you have with Christian Kirk, with Travis Etienne, with Zay Jones to an extent, with Evan Ingram to an extent, and with Laviska Shenault. You got arguably 4 to 5 guys on Jaguars offense. You could move all over the field. You could play in the backfield. You could line them up in the slot. You could line them up outside. You could do reverses. You could do screens. You could do shovel passes. You could do halfback / wide receiver jet sweeps like Deebo Samuel caliber stuff in San Francisco. You got guys now that are capable of doing more than just running downfield trying to get open. Those days for the Jaguar offense appear to be over. Marvin Jones is probably the only guy on this team that is your traditional, he's a wide receiver, he's not going to do anything else. By the way, I didn't even mention Jamal Agnew. Let's throw Agnew into the fold with Kirk, with Ingram, with Shenault, with Etienne. Whew. Telling you, man, they got speed. They got speed. And look, I know there's a lot of areas they needed to improve. And there's a lot of things that need to happen, and people need to stay healthy. And will Agnew be 100% after the hip? Will Etienne be 100% after the Liz Frank foot injury? Has Chenault solved his dropping the football problem? I mean, there's a reason this team did go 4-20, or no, what was it? 4-29 for the last 2 years. They're not going to suddenly snap out of it and be an 11-12 win team. But when you see the options that they got on offense, you see the possibilities that Press Taylor, the offensive coordinator, has. And you see a guy like Laviska Shenault, who is not going to be the first option on this offense, is not going to be the second option on this offense, probably won't be the third option on this offense. When your fourth or even your fifth option has 121 catches in 2 years in the NFL, that's, you could do a lot worse than that. You could absolutely do a lot worse than that. So we'll see, but I just am fascinated that every week now, a guy that we were talking about being traded, a guy that we were talking about even being a second-round bust, a guy that we all were saying, I'm guilty of it too, that he drops the football too much, now is being lauded on ESPN, CBS, Pro Football Focus as a serious sleeper in his third year in the National Football League. It'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to see Laviska Shenault and what he can do with Doug Peterson in this new offense and with a more confident and established second-year quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. 641-1010 is the phone number. If you want to get involved, you are more than welcome to do so. That's also the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. The roller coaster of recruiting. Yesterday was a bad day for Florida. Tonight, they get a 4-star from Bartram Trail and Sharif Dennison. Tonight's a better night, no question about it. What does Zach Goodall, SI, All Gators, think about the status of the program? Think about the criticism that Billy Napier was getting this weekend, which I think is ridiculous. Any Gator fan that goes onto Twitter or Facebook or a message board and criticizes Billy Napier when he hasn't even coached a game yet, when he got you from 76th in the rankings to the top 20 in his first recruiting cycle, and who now has 5 4-stars already for 2023, what are you criticizing? Get out of town. Zach Goodall is going to talk about all that and more. Gator recruiting is next. Florida State fans, haven't forgotten about you. We're inside of a half an hour till your latest commitment joins us. That, of course, is Roderick Kearney, the 4-star offensive lineman from Orange Park. It is a Monday night on Hacker After Dark, Jacksonville. We're glad you're here. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Summertime in your favorite city.
In the summertime when the weather is hot,
There's no place like home.
we're always happy. Life's for living, yeah, that's our philosophy.
Stay cool with 1010XL 92.5 FM.
If you're living with chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders, I've got exciting news for you.
Emmett Smith, all-time rushing leader and Hall of Famer.
Now you can get relief from pain without harmful medications and surgery. Call my guys at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics specializes in biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue. I'm talking about natural pain treatments now available, not just for pro athletes, but to people like you.
At QC Kinetics, we're seeing patients every day who suffer from chronic joint pain but who desperately wanted to avoid surgery. We're treating joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions with long-lasting results.
Listen, it's all about getting your life back. Playing touch football with kids, walking upstairs pain-free, getting back on a job, and patients at QC Kinetics are raving about the results.
QC Kinetics. Call to learn more about restorative treatments that can get you back in the game.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
Men suffering from PE or ED? Has Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra let you down? Regardless of your age or past medical history, you'll see results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center, or you pay nothing, guaranteed. Call us at 664-8217.
Honestly, this is one of the best jobs I've had.
Drivers and mechanics, listen up.
Waste Management is now offering a $5,000 new hire bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for job opportunities at our sites in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine.
There's so much more to Waste Management than what you think it is.
Waste Management offers steady work, competitive pay, weekly paychecks, opportunities for overtime, paid training, and a generous food and tool allowance.
Plus industry-leading benefits, like 100% tuition coverage for you and your family, and your home every day.
The benefits were great. They're the best I've seen in a long time.
CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics apply online today at WM.com/careers. That's WM.com/careers. Search driver and mechanic jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine, Florida.
A people-first, military-friendly, equal opportunity employer.
We are WM.
Protect your HVAC system from the summer heat. A full system tune-up from Fenwick Heating and Cooling will give your system the refresh it needs. Get a professional tune-up for $79 and save thousands over time. Plus, you'll get up to a pound of needed refrigerant free. Call 904-660-0556 or visit FenwickEasyBook.com and book your appointment online in just seconds.
Hey, it's Carline here for Claude Nolan Cadillac, and guess what? New cars are starting to arrive, ready to be bought off the lot. So take advantage of available luxury SUVs, 2022 XT4, XT5, and the 3-row XT6. Need your car repaired? Claude Nolan has a body shop that can handle all makes and models, from a dent to major damage, and you don't have to go where your insurance company suggests. So get down to Claude Nolan Cadillac today. Tell them Hay sent you. Begin your lasting relationship. Claude Nolan Cadillac, off JTB and Southside.
Upgrade your grilling game to amazing meals with a new high-quality grill from Caladad Grills. Why Caladad? It means quality. Expert grills that stand apart from the crowd, like Traeger, Kamado Joe, and Napoleon. In stock today and built to last. Why Caladad? It's a local family business, so they'll save you money and time with free delivery. Stop by Caladad Grills at the end of Cumberland Park Drive, just off County Road 210. Caladad, they make it easy for you to grill like a pro.
Hey, Hicken here for Zero Res. After long days at work, my family and I love to sit on our favorite sofa and recliner and watch a movie. Kind of helps us wind down from the day, right? We usually pass around some tasty snacks too. That's why we need to call Zero Res and get that furniture looking great again for the month of June. $35 off a sectional right now, $25 off a sofa, $20 off a love seat, and $10 off your favorite recliner. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
The 9 after 5 keeps rolling at Southampton. Joe C. inviting you to jump on the tee every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. Just call 287-PLAY and sign up. We'll give you a little time after work to get there. Always a fun 9-hole game. Chef Gary preparing something nice for afterwards. Prizes and more than anything else. Playing golf with buds and having some suds after. It's the 9 after 5 every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and get on the tee with Joe C.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Tired of Zoom meetings? Get out and make those sales calls wearing brand new company polos and give them a logoed pen because everyone loves pens. Hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 27, 1979, Muhammad Ali confirms that his third retirement is final. It was not final. Less than 6 months later, rumblings of his return began.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Florida Gators got some good news on the recruiting circuit this weekend. Also got some bad news on the recruiting circuit. And unfortunately, the bad news probably far outweighed the good news. Natives are restless in Gator Nation. Florida State takes one away from Florida. Miami gets a quarterback that Florida wanted. Let's get the very latest with Zach Goodall. You can follow him with Sports Illustrated. He runs the All Gators website. He does an absolutely terrific job as that publisher. Zach, thank you for the time, man. How are you?
Hey, thank you for having me. I can say, just because I try and stay neutral and I'm not a Florida fan, just a reporter, that I am certainly doing better this morning than I think a lot of Florida fans are. It was a rough weekend, rough couple of days, no doubt.
Zach, all right, let's dive right in. The natives are restless. Roderick Kearney from Orange Park, he visits Florida. 30 minutes later, he commits to Florida State. Jaden Rashada, the quarterback from California, he ultimately decides to go to Miami instead of Florida. I'm not sure how in play Florida really was in the last couple of weeks. But regardless, Gator fans are up in arms about what happened yesterday. Should there be concern in Gator Nation about what's going on in recruiting right now?
Sure, and I think it extends beyond these past two recruitments as well. We've kind of started to see a slow bit of momentum going in the wrong direction, because since Napier was hired, there's been all of this praise in Florida, and rightfully so. They have changed the program to make it more player friendly. They've put an emphasis on, knocking these recruiting visits out of the park and prioritizing recruiting, unlike the previous staff had done. And I think you saw the early returns just based off of how players felt when they were leaving campus and they would do interviews with us. I think we've had 30 to 35 official visits already this month. Obviously a lot. There were tons throughout the spring, just so people can come in and get to know this new staff. But there's really not been much in terms of getting talent into the class. Now, there's been a few. Napier's added 7 commits in this cycle already. Most of them are kind of underrated guys, though. There's really only 2 players that you can consider. I wouldn't even call them blue chips, but more so, good 4-star, solid players that people get excited about. Most recently, Isaiah Nixon, the flip from UCF, and then Najee Harris, the IMG Academy offensive lineman. But the expectation with all of these changes, with the better culture, with what these players are saying, is that Florida was going to be able to start, closing on these elite recruits that have evaded them for quite some time and have gone to, occasionally an in-state rival, but most of the time we've really seen these players start to leave the state and go to these powerhouses in a different state. And with Kearney and Rashada, it obviously ended up being in-state, which made the loss sting a bit more. But it was interesting to follow those two, right? Because you said with Rashada, it did seem like it was Miami at the end. Now, from what I'm aware of, is that Florida truly did fight to the end, had a fighting chance. It really was the leader up until he pushed things back from his June 18th commitment to June 26th. Once Miami was able to get him to push things back, they were very firmly in the mix and they never slowed down. It got to a point, I think before he even committed, that he ended up kind of knowing, I'm going to do Miami. I'll hear Florida out if they call me, but I'm happy with this decision to make it to Miami, and that ended up being the case. And I think Florida fans were aware of that. Going into the weekend, they started to have their doubts and understanding that it looks like he might be a Cane. So really, I view Rashada as the bigger loss in a vacuum. That's a franchise quarterback type of guy that you would be bringing into Gainesville to lead your first recruiting class. But you look at the event that happened with Kearney, a guy that visited 3 times this month. As of 3 or 4 months ago, Florida was really not in his recruitment. And all of a sudden, it seemed like they were turning into a leader just off of how often he was here, things he had to say. And then you're right. He walks out of his visit, and he lives in Jacksonville. So coming up from Gainesville, you got to take 301 in Waldo. I would imagine he was not even on 301 by the time he hit send on that tweet. He was not out of Alachua County by the time he committed to Florida's biggest in-state rival. So it's just, you could really look at that as a bigger loss than Rashada when it's all said and done. And it's just 2 perfect examples of things just aren't clicking in Gainesville the way fans expected it to, and that this coaching staff has sold it based on what they want to do in recruiting.
Zach Goodall, Sports Illustrated, All Gators, does a terrific job with that website as the publisher. He's with us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Zach, I covered recruiting for 4 years, so I always kind of got a kick, quite frankly, out of the hysteria of getting a recruit and the euphoria. You get a guy, the despair if you don't get a guy. So I was kind of enjoying the the Twitter back and forth yesterday because who really knows if these guys are going to work out or not. But I'm sure, like you, covering recruiting, you're used to seeing this sort of thing. But Gator fans, maybe they thought it was just going to be a snap of the finger, and Napier was going to come in with this staff and this recruiting budget, and they were going to pick off anybody they want. The bottom line is Billy Napier hasn't coached a game yet at the University of Florida. That all football facility is not open yet. So I think Napier's going to get the guys, but good grief, we're early in the process. And Gator fans just need to take a couple of deep breaths and, to me, calm down a little bit.
Yeah, see, I agree with you, and I think there's something that you can add to it, too. Either fans, and I don't want to speak for all of them, but a good number of fans either expected once he got here that, a switch would flip. They would change things because, obviously, I think it's very well documented and publicly known that Dan Mullen did not put an emphasis on recruiting. So the idea that a coach walked into the building and cared about it made you think that something was going to change. You can also look at this as Florida fans have seen, the program just kind of crumbles. I mean, not even kind of crumble since Urban Meyer left. Recruiting has consistently gotten worse, and it doesn't seem like Florida's in a spot to be contending for those top 5 classes at this point, even with the results we've got now. So for those fans that understood where the program was going, they wanted results. They didn't have expectations. They wanted results, and they weren't really going to change their attitude until they started seeing those. And now that things are going the other way, it's just continuing to add to their frustration that was already there. They're going to need to see a serious change in results and seeing this ability to close start clicking on elite talents before I really think anyone's happy here. But you're right, too. It does – this is something that I think is worth remembering right now with Rashada especially. Florida's got one of the more ideal quarterback situations for a elite quarterback prospect to walk into right now. You've got Anthony Richardson, NFL draft type. I know it's a bit, premature because he's not really proven himself as a starter quite yet, but it's there. If he were to declare for the NFL draft after this season, he has a great season. Florida has absolutely nothing to hang its hat on at quarterback as a starter at this point. They've just got some guys that are clearly reserves and developmental projects at this point. So a quarterback could come in and start immediately. And when I look at that, I think you do need to give Napier some time. You do need to let some games be played. You do need to see how Anthony Richardson looks in this system. If it's good, if Florida wins more games than they're expected to this year and Richardson plays well enough to go and declare for the draft as a redshirt sophomore, you better believe that there are going to be quarterbacks even committed elsewhere that will suddenly turn and say, whoa, this looks kind of intriguing. There's opportunity here, and this is a place where quarterbacks can be successful. So, right, I understand getting upset right now. It certainly is not looking good, but all it's going to take is a couple of impressive wins this year for some recruits to suddenly start thinking, okay, this program might be legit. I'm going to give them a little bit more interest, and maybe that leads to some flips. Maybe that leads to flipping one of the top quarterbacks in this class, which we know Florida needs at this point. I'm not too sure, but that's certainly a possibility that just needs a little bit more time to play out.
I agree with you, and you and I probably talk to the same people in the same circles, and something like that might not surprise me in a couple of months. Again, Zach Goodall here with us, Sports Illustrated, all Gators. Zach, you know how this works, man. The moment Florida does get another 4-star commitment, all is going to be right with the world. But you're a Northeast Florida guy. I'm a Northeast Florida guy. Losing Roderick Kearney from Orange Park, does that put more pressure on the Gators to land Trayon Webb out of Trinity Christian? Because if you lose Kearney and Webb, that's going to add to the noise in the system, if you will.
I certainly think so. I think it extends beyond those two as well. Shout out to Jacksonville for another strong recruiting class coming out of there. There's a lot of talent that Florida's pursuing. You've got Jordan Hall over at Westside, the defensive lineman, and Andrew Jackson, linebacker Grayson Howard, are another 2 priority targets for Florida. And if they were somehow to miss out on a lot of these guys, I know Howard is actually supposed to announce today, and I'm not sure at this point where it's going, but I'm not 100% convinced that'll be Florida. But suddenly you start missing out on all of these guys from right up the road, right up 301 in Jacksonville, less than an hour and a half away. That really points to the problem again. Where are these results we're talking about? These should be layups. Trayon Webb has visited Florida as much as There are like 2 or 3 prospects that have visited Florida as much as him this year, and it's like getting close to 5-10 visit range. It's crazy. I've really not seen that many visits in such a short time period. He's out here creating merch that's in Florida colors and not doing it for any other schools. He's got family, this being Trayon Webb, in D-Webb that played at Florida back in the Urban Meyer era. Like, these are the recruiting battles that you are supposed to win, even if you are not fully established at this point. So missing on a guy like Webb specifically, as well as these other players in Jacksonville, it would really sting. It would really add fuel to the fire.
Hey, Zach, final moments with you. Apart from recruiting, looking ahead to the 22 season, I've made the argument the entire offseason the Gator fans need to wrap their mind around the fact this might be 7-5 this year. This might be 8-4. I mean, Billy Napier, every time he holds a press conference, talks about the portal, the portal, the portal. We need more talent. He's not doing that for his health. He's doing that because they do need more talent. They got problems depth-wise at some positions. And when you're playing Georgia and A&M and Utah and Kentucky and Tennessee, I mean, this could be maybe the year Gator fans don't expect as far as a 7-5 type season. I think Napier will get it right, but 2022 may be a rough start.
I completely agree with you. I've tried to warn, Florida fans on the same thing. And I think, I really appreciate Napier's honesty when he does that too, because you won't find many coaches that come out and say, yeah, not a direct quote, but my roster is not in good shape. And it goes back to the issues with Dan Mullen. So before anyone blames Napier if they end up going 6-6 or 7-5, this is a direct result of the way recruiting has been at Florida over the past decade. And it was really accelerated over the past 3 or 4 years with just lackluster recruiting efforts. I don't necessarily mean just not pulling in talent, but there wasn't a structure to, the numbers that they wanted at each position. Roster turnover was never really figured out. When they would lose guys, they didn't have a sound replacement to replace not only the talent, but those numbers. And now you see it. Napier is saying, throughout the entire spring practice that they barely have a second team worth of depth at this point. That's, quality, able to give these starters quality practice reps, able to step into a game in a moment's notice because they're called upon at that time. Maybe that'll change with the way they've been developing guys throughout the spring, summer, and into the fall. But as of now, they're telling us that they're not that confident in their roster. So what really would you expect otherwise from the upcoming season? And that's not a Napier thing. This is the roster he inherited. And in the short amount of time he's had, he's tried to make some flips, bring in some transfers that can come in and make an immediate impact. But this is just what he was handed. And Florida fans are going to have to understand that, at least in year one, this is what he has to work with. You've just got to be optimistic that this recruiting can get fixed. More, great high-quality transfers can come in. So by 2023, ideally, you're not looking at anything close to a 7-5 season.
Zach Goodall of All Gators with the Sports Illustrated website. He is the publisher. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL Radio in Jacksonville. Hey, Zach, thank you for the time, man. We appreciate it. Once these Duval County kids start announcing their intentions, let's do it again and see where Florida stands in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it wasn't a Duval County kid, but it was a St. Johns County kid within the last hour or so, 90 minutes. Florida does get some good news. Sharif Dennison from Bartram Trail commits to the Gators this evening. That is after Florida lost out on a quarterback from California. A quarterback from California, by the way, that I didn't think was ever going to Florida, at least in the last 10 to 14 days. It was trending Miami. Miami ends up landing Jaden Rashada as well. So that's a good one for Mario Cristobal. But it was a good news, bad news situation for the Gators here locally. The good news tonight, Sharif Dennison from Bartram Trail. The bad news was Saturday in Roderick Kearney, the big offensive lineman from Orange Park, who was on his Gator official visit, left Gainesville, and committed to Florida State like 30 minutes later. Kind of interesting. We're going to talk to Roderick Kearney about that, as he's going to join me next. Roderick Kearney, the newest commitment for Mike Norvell and the Florida State Seminoles from Orange Park High School. He is next. It's Hacker After Dark on a Monday night here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
What is the name of this network again?
1010XL.
It's sports.
Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Around the clock. Sports all the time.
Jacksonville's live and local sports radio.
That's never going to work.
1010XL. Jacksonville Sports Superstation.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
Learn life-saving tactics and how to identify a potential attacker at Active Shooter and Threat Management Training. Wednesday, June 29th from 2 to 4. Register at nefsc.org.
Your family can host boys and girls from countries around the world to share your heart and home. Call 800-941-3738.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjacks.org.
The learning experience in Nocatee is raising funds for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and the Jacksonville Sharks will donate $5 for every ticket sold. Learn more at jacksharks.com.
Builders Care is looking for volunteers, and there are so many ways you can help. Find out how at builderscare.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Hey, it's Jeff Prosser. Are you feeling the sting of higher interest rates and higher costs? All those credit cards and other loans are costing more and more every month. Inflation making everything else more expensive. But listen, your home can save you right now. Your home value is up, and there's a ton of cash in it that you can access with Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. That means you can get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off all those 23% rate credit cards and other loans. Consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut $800 or more from their monthly budget, and even if your home mortgage rate goes up a point or so, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. Call Loan Pronto now. Unlock that equity and wipe out bad debt. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. So call 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
At Dr. Rooter, we understand plumbing issues can be a real inconvenience for your building or business, and we're here to help. We can handle all kinds of plumbing jobs, including broken pipes, clogged drains, line jetting, installing water heaters, and full repipes. Need a camera inspection or a smoke test? Yes, Duck Rooter does that too. Plus, our lift station services include inspections, monitoring, cleaning, and repairs. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769.
Hacker here from my friends at Xfinity. Well, get the speed you need at a great price. It's also the fastest internet on the largest gig speed network. In fact, gig speed internet from Xfinity is available to 99% of their footprint. You can also enjoy all your favorite apps. They're all in one place. That's with the Flex 4K streaming box that's free with your Xfinity internet. You can stay connected on the go with over 20 million secure Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide, and Xfinity's internet service brings the entire experience together by connecting other services like xFi, Advanced Security, Xfinity Flex, and more. This is based on Xfinity's fastest available download speeds, not available in all areas. Performance may be limited by customer's device configuration. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Jacksonville, do what I did. Get hooked up with the good folks of Xfinity.
How wide is the moon? The answer coming right up.
It's always a good idea to compare homeowners' insurance rates instead of renewing year in and year out. Log on to southernoak.com and get an instant quote in minutes.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The moon is roughly 2,100 miles wide, about a 3-day drive.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hi, everybody. Mike Dempsey here for Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy football. Draft your team with no in-season management, get the optimal score from your team each week of the season, and have a shot at over $10 million in total prize money in Underdog's Best Ball Mania 3 contest. Head to UnderdogFantasy.com or the App Store now, sign up with the promo code 1010XL, and Underdog is going to match your first deposit up to $100. Again, Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code 1010XL and draft your Best Ball Mania 3 team today.
Hey, this is Ken with Fifth Element Adjusting. Let my team and I ensure your insurance claim is settled properly. We even helped Jeff Prosser get his roof replaced in 2016.
Thank goodness I had Ken Lawler and his team help me navigate the claim process. They did everything for me, filed it, scheduled it, completed it, and established a settlement. I got my damaged property replaced and got back to my life.
So call Fifth Element Adjusting or visit FEAClaims.com. If you're happy with the outcome of your claim, Fifth Element Adjusting will not be able to help you. Ken Lawler, DFS number P213199.
Captain Kevin Favor here, and do you store your boat and boat trailer separately? If so, I want to tell you about Stack'em Storage. They store your boat trailer in a secure warehouse out of the elements, and here's the cool thing. Stack'em Storage will pick up your trailer from you, store it in a secure warehouse, do a 5-point inspection, and deliver it back to you where and when you need it. Call Captain Pat at 962-9605. Use code FAVOR, that's F-A-V-E-R, and get a $50 gift card to Strike Zone. Visit stackmstorage.com.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. It was a big weekend for Florida State on the recruiting trail as they got a good one from Clay County. Let's go to Orange Park High School right now. Roderick Kearney of Orange Park commits to Florida State, and he is with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Roderick, congratulations, man. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing amazing. How about yourself?
Roderick, we are good, and thank you for the time. I know you've been busy since the commitment, and let's dive right into it, man. What was it about Mike Norvell? What was it about Florida State that led you in that direction?
I just feel like it was a better choice for me, a better option, due to the people, the people around. Without the people, there's no team bonding, and I feel like Coach Atkins do a really great job of coaching the O-line. So me being there and me going there to watch some practices and all that stuff, I got to see how he coached and how he get down. And I also went to some of the camps, so he got a chance to teach me, and I like the way he teaches. So.
A guy like you, I first heard about you probably 2 years ago, and you get all the recruiting letters, you get all the coaches calling you night and day. Now you're 6 weeks away from starting your senior season. Roderick, was it a matter of you just kind of wanted this over with so you can enjoy your senior year?
Yes, sir. I never really been into all that recruiting stuff. At the end of the day, I'm still a high school football player, and I got a whole team I got to focus on and get ready for my senior season. So, I ain't really focused on that stuff a lot. So, as of right now, I got to grind. Grind with my football team right now. So, we can maybe win some games this year.
Roderick Kearney of Orange Park High School. He's on his way to Florida State. Let's talk about Orange Park. You got a brand new head coach in Coach Marcus Wimberly. Now, he's a Miami guy. You're now a Florida State guy. I wonder if there'll be any back and forth there. But talk about your new head coach. I had a conversation with him earlier in this week. Seems like a very, very impressive man.
Yes, sir. Coach Wimberly, he's a great coach. He also brought some coaches along with him. Coach Kobe, really great coach. I learned a lot so far. And I feel like he's really going to change this program around with the way he teaches and the way he's on us and all that stuff. So, yes, sir.
Roderick, the one thing is, and I think it's interesting when you talk about a guy like you, a 4-star, you have colleges everywhere wanting you to commit to them, so you're obviously in high demand. And you could go to a lot of different high schools, right? You have chosen to stay at Orange Park and finish your high school career at Orange Park. What went into that decision? Did you ever think about going anywhere else, or you loyal to the school where you've been at all these years?
At the end of the day, I'm a Raider. I'm always be a Raider. I've been going to I've been in Orange Park for a while now, and I built my own legacy. Orange Park, put Orange Park on the map. So it's only right that I continue and ride out with my team.
And how important is that to your senior year? Because we know the teams in Clay County. Look, Fleming Island has made some noise in the playoffs. Oakleaf certainly has as well. Clay back in the day. I would imagine with you going out one more year at Orange Park, you want Orange Park to kind of get in that mix and certainly make it back to the postseason.
Correct. I feel like with all the work we've been putting in, nobody really see the work we've been putting in, but Coach Rimble and Coach Kobe and the rest of the coaching staff really do a great job of coaching us, to the best of their abilities, so we can, come out on top for the season.
Couple of more for Roderick Kearney of Orange Park. He committed to Florida State over the weekend. Roderick, for Seminole fans listening to this that maybe haven't seen your game, maybe they've just seen highlights on Huddle or 24/7, what kind of football player are you? What are they getting with Roderick Kearney over there in Tallahassee?
I feel like they're going to get not only a physical player, but a fundamentally sound player, and also somebody that's going to be a team player that's not only going to be selfless, but provide a lot for the team, knowledge-wise, and my overall game. I feel like it's going to really affect the team in a good way. So,
you being in Clay County, not all that far from Tallahassee, I mean, you just committed to play for Florida State, right, at Doak Campbell Stadium. And you think of all the unbelievable players that have worn that Seminole uniform. I know it's only been a day since it happened, but has it sunk in yet that you're going to play football for the Garnet and Gold there in Tallahassee?
Oh, yeah. I always want, down in my heart, I always knew I was going to be a Node. It's only go up from here. It's only beginning, a new journey.
Well, Roderick, as we wrap up with you again, Roderick Kearney of Orange Park, what's your hope? What's your expectation for your senior year? Is it a playoff return? Do you want to be even advancing in the playoffs? What's the perfect year for you coming into 2022 to close out your senior campaign there at Orange Park? What are you hopeful for?
I'm trying to go all the way with it. I already know God got a plan for us. So I feel like we put enough work in for us that it's going to pay off. So we're trying to go all the way.
Well, Roderick, we certainly appreciate you taking time out, man, and joining us. A lot of Seminole fans, again, listening tonight. They're very excited to have you on board with this 2023 recruiting class. You have any sort of message for Florida State fans that are listening to this, maybe hearing you for the first time tonight?
Go Noles.
Short and to the point. I like it. Roderick Kearney of Orange Park on his way to Florida State. Hey, Roderick, enjoyed the conversation. Thank you very much, man. Best of luck to Orange Park this year.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Boy, it's been a busy day. Not only in Duval County, but St. Johns County and Clay County. Really today and going back this past weekend. That was Roderick Kearney. Thank you to him of Orange Park High School who committed to Florida State, for joining us on Hacker After Dark. Earlier today, linebacker Grayson Howard of Jackson commits to play football at South Carolina. And tonight, out in St. Johns County, Sharif Dennison of Bartram Trail commits to the Florida Gators. So Florida State gets a young man from Orange Park, Florida gets a young man from Bartram Trail, and the South Carolina Gamecocks get a Jackson Tiger there in Grayson Howard. And for what it's worth, one of the big commitments left in the area is running back Trayon Webb of Trinity Christian. He has come out on social media this evening. He was planning on committing June 30th. Apparently that's no longer the case. So we'll have to see what that means. Florida very much in play with him. South Carolina is in play there. I believe Tennessee is still in play there. And I can tell you with what I've been told, that there are a lot of people in the Gainesville area that believe Penn State is also very much in play with Trayon Webb, the running back from Trinity Christian. In Denmark, I think you're seeing more and more that these seniors, they want to get their commitments out of the way before their senior season. We're basically a month away before training camp for high school, basically, whatever you call it, begins. August 1st is really when the season begins in high school, and that's why you're seeing more and more guys leading up to August 1st commit so they can enjoy their senior year and not have to worry about the recruiting process.
Yeah, I think there's that. They can enjoy their actually being in high school for their senior year, but also, too, it might be – you see this a lot with quarterbacks, not so much other positions, but with the transfer portal being so fluid, the availability of scholarships, you don't know how much you're going to have with each position, and if you commit early and say you're going to go to this school, well, then you're going to have your spot, and if you wait a couple months, you might not have that spot you want at that specific school. So I think it might be a little bit of that too, but yeah, you're definitely seeing a lot of guys commit early. And I mean, me personally, if I was one of these players, I'd definitely want to do it, just get it done with, and not have this hanging over my head the entire senior season.
We'll bring you more of the guys that are committing. We'll certainly bring you more high school coaches as we get ever closer to the 2022 regular season, where it'll be year 16 of the Friday Night Lights postgame show here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Coming up next, back into the world of the National Football League. So far, we've been to the NFC East, the AFC East, the NFC North, the AFC North. Last week, we were in the AFC West. This week, it's all about the NFC West. We will take trips to San Francisco, to Seattle. We'll check in on the world champs in Los Angeles, but we'll kick it off tonight in Phoenix. The Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, not happy with his contract. DeAndre Hopkins, suspended for the first 6 games. Chandler Jones, gone. Interesting offseason in Arizona. Oh, by the way, they also lost a guy named Christian Kirk. We'll talk about all that with my man Kevin Zimmerman, ArizonaSports.com. He's our guy out in Phoenix when it comes to the Cardinals, and he's next. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
Okay, excellent show, everyone.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
Men, when you're in the mood for love, but you have ED or PE and those little blue pills haven't worked, here's a message from Prime Men's Medical Center.
I'm Dr. Rabinski. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center offers custom-blended medications. Men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, and it's affordable.
Call 904-664-8217. We guarantee you'll see results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call 904-664-8217.
Business owner, entrepreneur, CEO. Get expert help working on your business. Florida State University's Jim Moran Institute in the College of Business is now accepting applications for the Jacksonville Small Business Executive Program. It's designed to help you think differently, to become more efficient in running your business, all at no cost. Classes meet once a month starting mid-August. Find out if you're eligible and apply before July 5th at jmi.fsu.edu. jmi.fsu.edu.
Get recruiting tips and advice from area coaches, pros, athletes, and their parents. Plus better ways to train as B3 bettors Jaron Sanders and A.D. Roberts host the Amateur's Edge Show. Saturday from 11 to noon on 1010XL.
Are you ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. The First Coast YMCA is not only your home for health and wellness, it's also a place for the kids to explore, to learn new things, and to expand the limits of their imaginations. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, and outdoor games. Space is limited, and registration is now open. Visit fcymca.org and search for summer camps. See you at the Y.
If you're involved in a legal dispute, call me, Glenn Levine, a board-certified civil trial lawyer at the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000, and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Hicken here for Roof It Right. You know the drill. Hey, that's our show. Don't let anyone touch your roof until you got a quote from my friends at Roof It Right. Storm season right around the corner. Get prepared now with an inspection from Jacksonville's Master Elite Roofer, and sleep easy knowing your home is protected by the area's best materials and best warranties. There's a lot of roofers here in town. Roof It Right is the company I trust. Schedule your estimates today at roofitRightFL.com. That's roofitRightFL.com. And see why your friends and neighbors say, Roof It Right, so you can sleep at night.
Estate cleanouts, hoarding cleanouts, old appliances, and even tools. There are tons of reasons why you or someone you know may need expert help clearing space. J-Dog Junk Removal will responsibly help you free up space. That means when they leave your place, it looks better. Whether it's you or a loved one that needs one type of clean out at your home, trust the veterans at J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran owned and operated. Call 844-GET-JDOG or visit jdog.com.
Introducing the meatiest, boldest bowls ever created by you. New build-your-own bowls at Sonny's. Loaded with your choice of slow-smoked barbecue and favorites like mac and cheese, tots, or new barbecue dirty rice. All layered and sauced to perfection. For limited time, build a bowl or try a new Pitmaster Select Bowl starting at $10.99. Get yours at a Sonny's near you or at ordersonnys.com. Sonny's Barbecue. Local Pitmasters since '68.
Hey, Rural Pest Services here. Have mercy, the heat and afternoon thunderstorms are here. With that, we get the skeeters. And for the transplants, mosquitoes. At Royal, we offer a monthly, bi-weekly, or one-time mosquito suppression service. The treatment process offers up to a 95% knockdown on all mosquito activity. So let Royal help you enjoy that backyard oasis this summer. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 27, 1979, Muhammad Ali confirms that his third retirement is final. It was not final. Less than 6 months later, rumblings of his return began.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Hard to believe our NFC West preview is here. We've already been through 5 out of the 8 divisions. Tonight we will kick off division number 6. That is in the NFC West. What a division that was last year. Of course, the Super Bowl champions reside in the NFC West. Other fantastic teams like San Francisco you got out there. You also have Seattle and the Arizona Cardinals, who have had a very eventful offseason. With that, let's go to Phoenix, Arizona. Kevin Zimmerman, editor of ArizonaSports.com, is our guy out in Phoenix, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Kevin, always appreciate it, my friend. And, boy, what an offseason for Arizona. Let's begin with, it hasn't been the biggest soap opera in the NFL, thanks to Deshaun Watson, but it's certainly been a big topic, and that's Kyler Murray and his contract issues out there with the Cardinals. Kevin, where do we stand right now with Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinal organization? Is it still a lot of love, or is there a little bit of love lost at this point?
I think the relationship is not in a terrible place, but I think it's in a confused place. And by that, I just mean that I don't, to my knowledge, believe that they've had many negotiations on the contract talks. And that's kind of odd at this point in the summer. But then again, Steve Keim did say and has said throughout that, look, we're going to talk about it when the time has come. And it's just a matter of when he thinks that time is. So Kyler showed up to one of the involuntary training sessions, showed up to minicamp, went through that stuff. So he's good with his teammates. Everyone's confident, as far as his teammates are about him being with the team, ready to go for week 1. But until we see him sign that extension that we expect should be offered to him in some capacity, then, there's always that question of whether he's going to hold out a training camp.
You look at the balance of power at the quarterback position, you look at the AFC, and my goodness, with Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan coming over this offseason to go with Josh Allen, Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, certainly, Lamar Jackson, go on down the line. It's incredible. You look at the NFC, you got Aaron Rodgers, you got Dak Prescott, But I got to tell you, Kirk Cousins, Kyler Murray, I would think you guys out there in Phoenix indeed do have one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football Conference.
Yeah, I mean, everything from Kyler getting better. I think he started in his NFL career as a raw guy. Raw as in he has to experience all these different things, learn how to read coverages, learn what teams are going to do to him. And to be honest, in some ways, the Cardinals haven't exactly given him, the best protection. They really struggled. And you look at the numbers when DeAndre Hopkins got injured at the end of this past season, and he was struggling a bit once that happened. And a lot of the offense is predicated on those two guys just being so good and naturally talented. So that all being said, I think he's made strides, and they're kind of doubling down on continuity this offseason with, you look at James Conner is back, Zach Ertz was re-signed, and they expected Hopkins to be around, and then they go and get Hollywood Brown. So it is all about pleasing Kyler, but right now, another thing, their center didn't show up for the minicamp that was required. So there's a lot of questions about how supportive they're going to be able to be, I guess, is the right way to phrase it.
Of course, I might want to mention Tom Brady. Resides in the NFC, too. He's kind of a hard one to overlook as well. Kevin Zimmerman, ArizonaSports.com, here with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Kevin, one of the big stories for the Cardinals as well, not only Kyler Murray's contract status, you're going to be without DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games of the year. Fantasy owners, hope you heard that. Again, no D-Hop for the first 6 games due to suspension. Is it about survival until D-Hop gets back? How's Arizona approaching this?
Yeah, I think it's got to be. And I guess the Hollywood Brown acquisition was more of hey, we're going to add to this, bring in a guy that Kyler already has a background, they're friends and all that with, played together. So that's going to help, but he's not the same guy as DeAndre Hopkins. He's not the just throw it up and jump ball receiver that DeAndre Hopkins is. So I think whether he sticks in with where Christian Kirk was, or if he moves outside for a little bit, they brought back A.J. Green, so he has capable receivers, but it's just a matter of how explosive you can make this offense again when things went south last year when DeAndre Hopkins was hurt.
Arizona, it's interesting, Kevin. They were a playoff team last year. Some people might forget they played the Monday night wildcard weekend game against the Rams. Now, certainly it didn't go very well, and the Rams went on to win the Super Bowl. But from a playoff team, they certainly suffered some losses in free agency. Is Arizona viewing this as our window is still open, or is it a setback from last year's roster?
I think they believe that they're just on their actions that they had it right. They had the winning formula, just looking at that front half of the season, but I think they all are admitting, look, we can't do what we did at the back half of the season. We have to look at how teams played us. That's Kyler, that's everyone, the defense. Losing Chandler Jones was a big loss in free agency at outside linebacker. They didn't really do much other than draft a couple edge rushers to replace Chandler Jones, who's been one of the most productive sack guys in the league for the last 5 or so years. So while there is, the continuity thing, it's hard to see them on paper just being better than last year. And that's where you kind of wonder, okay, is there going to be another big move? How are you going to get over what happened to you at the end of the season? And again, that was a crazy thing to watch, just how dominant they were in the front half, and then how things fell apart and they looked so just not really knowing what they're doing, to be quite honest, especially in that playoff game.
Yeah, it was bizarre. We saw Arizona here in Jacksonville last year. That, of course, was the infamous whirly bird that ended up getting picked off and returned for a touchdown. I can't tell you, Kevin, how much fun we had with the whirly bird the week after the Cardinal-Jaguar game. But from that moment in September and into October, you could argue Arizona was the best team in football. And then whatever happened, it certainly went into a decline. Was Kingsbury blamed for that by the fan base? How did the fans react to that steep decline from September to December?
Yeah, I mean, you look at his record at Arizona. Every year he's been here, going back to Texas Tech, his teams fall off at the end of seasons, and there's just record stats to show that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of what he does, and you look at even with DeAndre Hopkins, his heat map, if you will, is like they only put him on the left side, and that is by design to make things easier for Kyler in the offense. But on the other side of things, if a defense knows he's going to line up in the same spot every play, that makes it kind of predictable. And there are little things like that, just play calling, small short yardage situations when they're actually a pretty good running team. They throw a screen to Hopkins and get blown up and look bad. And just things like that have been under the microscope for quite a while, all through Kingsbury's tenure. So I think he's definitely gotten heat. But again, it's also a personnel situation where you look at the pieces and how everything's put together. And, General Manager Steve Keim has gotten some heat from that too.
A couple of more for Kevin Zimmerman. ArizonaSports.com is our NFC West preview continues. On the defensive side of the ball, you mentioned the loss of Chandler Jones. Certainly in this division, when you're competing with the likes of Deebo Samuel in San Francisco, you see what the Rams have with Cooper Kupp and now Allen Robinson. You got to play defense in the West. How is the Arizona defense stacking up despite some of those free agent losses?
Yeah, I'll just run it down. I mean, J.J. Watt, if he's healthy, was pretty productive last year, pretty impactful. They have questions on the interior of the line outside of that, and also, again, on the edge with Chandler Jones not being around. But you move out, their linebackers are two guys who were first-round picks the last few years, and really, in different ways, haven't exactly met the expectations or played. Zaven Collins is a rookie last year, supposed to be the starting middle linebacker. He hardly saw the field, basically, and now he's expected to start, so he has to show things that he's improved. And then when you go back to the secondary, they signed Jeff Gladney, who had been basically kicked off the Vikings a year before, and he had apparently turned his life around and all that stuff, and then he dies tragically in a car accident, and they don't really have a replacement there. So I think when you look at just as a whole, there are just a lot of questions there. Their safeties, Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson, are both guys who can be Pro Bowlers. Budda has been. But in front of them and around them, there are just a lot of questions to be answered. And it's Vance Joseph does get heat here. He's made solid defenses out of bad situations when guys get hurt, but he has a lot on his plate just trying to figure out all these pieces.
Kevin, final question for the 22 Arizona Cardinals. Where are they in this division? I mean, it looks like the Rams division until somebody knocks them off. We'll see about San Francisco. Seattle looks like they're in a rebuild. Where would you put Arizona in the West coming into 2022?
Yeah, I would have to put them third, I think, just because they're I think San Francisco has a right to be where they are ahead of them. They have a lot of talent. Obviously, the quarterback situation is what it is. But then you look at the Rams, obviously, and I think Arizona is a good team. I think they have the pieces and they have depth issues, I would say, when you get down to it. But I think they're going to be competitive. It's just a matter of, is that competitive enough to get a wild card spot in a very competitive division?
Kevin, let's go rapid fire as we wrap up. We'll talk about Christian Kirk in a moment, but Brinson Buckner was the defensive line coach in Arizona last year and has been with the Cardinals for a few years prior to that. Now he is in Jacksonville, not from an X's and O's standpoint, but how would you assess the Cardinal D-line last year as Buckner makes the transition over here to Jacksonville?
Yeah, they improved a lot. I think when you look at the guys, they drafted a few guys, Leki Fotu, Rashard Lawrence, a couple years ago, and those guys made strides. Injuries kind of hit them. But the one guy you point to, you look at Zach Allen, he made significant strides, was pretty healthy for most of the year until apparently his ligaments in his foot just weren't there, and his foot was basically just taped up the whole second half of the year or so. But he was making significant strides, and I think that's the guy you look at when you look at Buckner, as far as his development, his ways of just getting to guys, and his experience in the NFL, being able to teach that.
Kevin, I don't know if you know this, so I'm asking tongue-in-cheek here. Christian Kirk got a lot of money in Jacksonville because I've heard that the entire offseason. I also know he caught 250 balls for Arizona in 4 years. And as a guy that covers the Jaguars, I will gladly take that. I know we had you on 4 months ago when that happened, but now that you've had time to digest it a little bit, what does Christian Kirk bring to Jacksonville?
I think stability. You go back to his rookie year when they had, Sam Bradford and Josh Rosen as a rookie playing quarterback. He had productive, I think, over 500 yards. He was productive then, has gotten better. Just the work ethic, I think, is why you pay a guy that, even though, the numbers don't reflect what he got as far as money. But I think being a solid inside receiver where he really thrives, just experience being around Larry Fitzgerald, DeAndre Hopkins, he has gotten better each and every year. And you look at the numbers too, and you say he should have been more targeted in some ways. So I think, you look at what's actually guaranteed in that Jaguars contract, and it's not that bad. And I think for Trevor Lawrence, he'll be real positive.
I love the Christian Kirk signing, combining him with Evan Ingram and Zay Jones. I think the Jaguars did a little something this offseason. We will certainly see. Kevin Zimmerman, ArizonaSports.com. Hey, Kevin, final thought. Love your work with the NBA as well. Phoenix arguably has the biggest free agent that probably will actually hit the market in DeAndre Ayton. For the life of me, I don't know why Phoenix would want to let him go, but that appears to be the rumblings, is that Ayton may very well be somewhere else next year.
Yeah, I that's all I know too. They do not let things get out here in Phoenix as far as rumors. So I think what you hear is just other executives across the league guessing. But I think the situation is basically, are you better if you let him go? And I think that's a no. And, if they don't want to pay him, I think they will work really hard to get a sign and trade off. But I would also expect to say, hey, if we don't get a good sign and trade offer, we're gonna consider paying him big bucks, even if he gets an offer sheet from someone else, just because, again, like you said, NBA Finals 2 years ago appearance, and he was a huge reason why they got to that finals in the first place.
Kevin Zimmerman, ArizonaSports.com. He's our guy out in Phoenix when it comes to the Cardinals. Hey, Kevin, thank you for the time, man. We really appreciate it. We'll do it again soon.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you to Kevin Zimmerman out in Phoenix talking about the Cardinals. We'll go to Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles later in the week during our NFC West preview. Big news of the night. The Gators land a commitment from St. Johns County, Bartram Trail. Sharif Denson, the 4-star corner, commits to Florida. He had numerous other offers, including Miami, Texas A&M, just to name a few. But he commits to the Gators tonight, which kind of softens the blow of what was a tough weekend for Florida on the recruiting trail. The NBA draft in the books late last week. Now it's all about free agency. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant in the news today. Irving coming back to Brooklyn as he opts in. Let's preview a little NBA free agency, NBA offseason. My friend Sean Devin, he's covered the NBA for years, Heavy.com, always kind enough to join us. We'll talk a little association. That's next. Hacker After Dark on a Monday. We're glad you're with us.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
Gas leak?
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
The only gas leak is the one coming out of your mouth right now.
The Drill.
Okay, are you done now? Huh?
Mornings on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Listen up. We want your car and we're ready to pay more than anyone else. Curious to know how much? You can get an immediate appraisal and same-day cash at any of our stores. Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet will pay what you deserve. If it has 4 wheels and runs, let us take a look. Come see us now. Why are you still sitting there? We're not messing around. Get the most out of your car right now. Come visit us and see what we can do for you today. Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet. We want to wow you and buy your car.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is the sports medicine leader in Northeast Florida. We're proud to be the official sports medicine provider for your hometown teams, including the Jaguars, Sharks, Axemen, Armada, and the Jumbo Shrimp. We have the most cutting-edge resources for sports medicine care, including Active Armor casting, Alter-G anti-gravity treadmills, and highly trained physicians and athletic trainers. JOI is truly where the pros go, and so should you.
For the month of June, Zero Res has some great discounts on furniture cleaning. Hicken here, how about $35 off a sectional, $25 off a sofa, $20 off a love seat, and $10 off your favorite recliner. Zero Res, man, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. With your home value up again, you're sitting on a pile of money. Don't just let it sit there. Use it. Hey, it's Prosser here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Introducing Loan Pronto's Equity Line of Credit program. You don't have to refinance, but you can access up to 97% of your home's value. Get cash now to pay off all your credit cards or do that home improvement project. Get your down payment for a new home or stash away for a safety net. You can get $50,000, even $100,000 or more out of your home, and the payments are crazy low. Think what you can do with $100,000 right now. Loan Pronto makes unlocking your equity easy, and they could probably even waive the appraisal. Don't just let all that home equity pile up. Turn your house into an ATM machine and get that cash you need. Call Loan Pronto now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, loanpronto.com or 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The 9 after 5 keeps rolling at Southampton. Joe C. inviting you to jump on the tee every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. Just call 287-PLAY and sign up. We'll give you a little time after work to get there. Always a fun 9-hole game. Chef Gary preparing something nice for afterwards. Prizes and more than anything else. Playing golf with buds and having some suds after. It's the 9 after 5 every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and get on the tee with Joe C.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Tire Outlet. From June 20th through the 28th, Tire Outlet is giving away 2 sets of 4 jumbo shrimp tickets to the Independence Day fireworks celebration game. Hurry over to Tire Outlet's Facebook or Instagram for a chance to score today.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Are you looking for increased privacy and protection for your family and pets? Look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Superior Fence and Rail is Jacksonville's top-rated fence company, delivering the highest quality fence products. They'll treat your property as if it's their own. So get off the fence and get your privacy back. Call Superior Fence and Rail today for your on-site estimates.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Tim Tebow here, and I'm so excited to see you at my event, Faith, Food, and Football at Daly's Place on July 17th. I believe it's going to be an awesome day full of encouragement and fun for you and the family. There's going to be a worship service, a youth football clinic led by IMG Academy, motivational speakers, and all kinds of food provided by local restaurants. Tickets are on sale now at www.faithfoodandfootball.com. Can't wait to see you all there. God bless.
What is the oldest bridge here in Jacksonville? The answer next.
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
The Acosta Bridge, originally known as the Yellow Monster, was finished in 1921, just celebrated its 100th birthday.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn is ready to help. If you need extra cash or a quick loan, Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash in hand. They also love to buy items of value. They need gold, silver coins, and flatware, jewelry, guitars, and of course, guns.
Hello? Will you hear another great interview on 1010XL? It's on the Farah and Farah phone line.
I did not know that.
Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
I want my lawyer. I'm not saying a word till I get a lawyer.
On 1010XL. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. It is a Monday evening, and we are glad you are with us. The NBA Finals in the rearview mirror, the NBA Draft in the rearview mirror. Boy, the Summer League is going to get started very soon, and the rumors are already swirling about potential blockbuster trades and, of course, NBA free agency. With all that, let's talk to our friend Sean Devaney. He's kind of our NBA guy here on 1010XL. Of course, you can read him at heavy.com. Sean, how we doing?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Sean, we are good. Let's rewind the clock back to late last week. Paolo Banchero, the number 1 pick by Orlando, somewhat of a surprise. Orlando kind of kept that one pretty in-house until they made the decision on Thursday evening. What's been the reaction around the league to Banchero going number 1 to the Magic?
Yeah, it was a surprise. It looked like it was going to be Jabari Smith. That's what everyone kept saying. That's what I kept hearing. That's what you kept hearing. It was pretty widely accepted that Jabari Smith was going to be the guy. Obviously, I would say that Jeff Weltman was probably trying to find a way to maybe trade down if he could get some added assets. And that's why he kept it that close to the vest. But he mentioned that the draft and some of the strategy here is like playing poker, but it's unclear who he was playing poker against, really, because once it was clear that Houston and Oklahoma City weren't going to make any deals to move up. Then there was no real reason to continue to keep it a secret. But just for that reason, it was in the end a surprise to me, and I think a surprise to just about everybody.
Sean, how do you think his game's going to translate to the next level?
I think offensively it's very exciting. He's got the ability to run the floor. He can pass. He can shoot. He can do a little bit of everything. And that's what you need in today's NBA. Of course, the big question is, can he guard anybody? Does he have the length, the strength? Does he have the defensive instincts to hold his own? That's really going to be difficult. Of course, the Magic in recent years have struggled so much offensively that I think you take Banchero and you worry about the defense later. They've got to find a way to score some points, and I think that's the thinking with him.
Sean Devaney, Heavy.com, here with us on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Kyrie Irving's current teammate is Kevin Durant. There's all sorts of rumblings about his future if Kyrie were to leave. What are you hearing about Durant and his future in Brooklyn?
He's not at the point where he's demanding a trade, but he's going to, if Kyrie Irving leads, he's going to make sure that the Nets know he would very much like a trade. It's not really in Kevin Durant to go to the front office and say, trade me, I want to go here, I want to go here. It's not really how he conducts his business. But if Kyrie leaves, and Kevin Durant is looking at the kind of season that he had last year, where he really had to have, when you had Kyrie not doing the vaccine and James Harden was struggling and injured. Sometimes he wasn't playing. When he did play, he wasn't really himself. And really, Kevin Durant had to carry that team on his back. You don't want to do that. He'd be open to finding a new location. It's just a matter of who would be willing to give up what it would take to get Kevin Durant from the Nets.
You think of other big names in the NBA that could potentially be on the move. A Zach LaVine, perhaps in Chicago. Brad Beal appears he's going to stay in Washington. Sean, what are some of the things you're hearing about the other big-time guys this offseason?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of sound and fury around Zach LaVine, but I really don't see anything happening there. I think in the end, his agents were trying to get him some attention, and he got the attention, and now he's going to sign the big contract and stay with the Bulls, and same with Bradley Beal. I think James Harden will sign a short contract, probably 2-3 years with opt in, and then sign 2-3 years to stay in Philadelphia. So those guys most likely all staying put. I think DeAndre Ayton, there's a real chance that he leaves Phoenix. We'll see what kind of deal he winds up getting. I think the moves that Detroit made by basically giving away Jeremy Grant right before the draft, that was designed so that they could make a run at DeAndre Ayton. So we'll see how that pans out. The Suns, he's a restricted free agent, so the Suns have the opportunity to match there. And I think probably the biggest guy who might actually change teams is probably Jalen Brunson, who had a fantastic year. And the Knicks are going to put together an offer that's probably around $25 million a year, which is a lot. And if you're the Mavericks, you need so many different things to put around Luka Doncic. You got Spencer Dinwiddie last year at the trade deadline. I think you might be tempted to let Jalen Brunson walk for that level of money. If you could do a sign and trade with the Knicks and bring back multiple pieces, Nerlens Noel and maybe Emmanuel Quickly. If you can get a couple pieces from the Knicks, I think the Mavericks would look to do that. So he might be the biggest name that winds up moving.
A couple of more for Sean Devaney. Of course, you can read him at heavy.com. He's covered the NBA for many, many years. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL Radio in Jacksonville. Sean, who are the couple of teams that believe they are a player or two away? We always see teams kind of go all in the offseason, believing they are only a scorer or a defender away from really competing. Are there any of those teams this offseason that you're hearing are going to be active?
Yeah, I mean, I think Atlanta is really trying to do a lot, and I think it was a surprise that they didn't do anything on draft night, but certainly there's plenty that they can do after the draft as we get into free agency and into the trading season that follows. They want to kind of reconfigure that team around Trae Young and really play more to his strengths. So, I think Atlanta is definitely in the Eastern Conference a team to keep an eye on. Toronto has some cap space up there. They've been sort of quiet. I would keep my eye on them though, because they won 48 games last year. They were a much better team than people gave them credit for. They still need a little more. They need a little more star power on that team. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to get something done. And certainly out west, the Warriors winning it with the guys that they have at the age that they are, it really does give a lot of teams some hope that hey, maybe if you're the Timberwolves, if you're the Pelicans, those teams are really looking to make a move up in the Western Conference. So I think with the fact that the Warriors probably peaked by winning a championship this year and it probably won't be that good again next year. I think with that in mind, you're going to see a lot of teams in the West really make a push.
To Golden State really quick, they won the NBA Finals, a little over a week ago now, and the bottom line is Golden State now has 4 titles in 8 years. They were the highest of highs, all the injuries, went to really the lowest of lows, picking in the lottery, and then back to the highest of highs. Sean, I was thinking, with the same basically nucleus of Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry, can you ever remember a team being at the top of the mountain, falling off the cliff, and then working their way back up to the top of the mountain?
No, not like that. I mean, certainly, we've seen teams that, the old Celtics, in the 60s, they really hung on for some of those championships that they won in the late 60s without a whole lot of talent, with Bill Russell and John Havlicek and a bunch of guys that they scraped off of other teams. But they never went down. They didn't really have that nosedive. Of course, the Spurs were a very good team in the 90s, and they had the one year where they really just injuries absolutely decimated them, and they get Tim Duncan and they came back, but they hadn't won a championship before that, so it's not quite the same thing. So to answer your question, there's some things that maybe you could compare it to, but certainly nothing that we've seen that's been like what the Warriors just did.
As we wrap things up here with Sean Devaney, Mo Bamba, Sean, is the biggest free agent the Orlando Magic have. I believe he's a restricted free agent. Orlando will have the right to match. What's your expectation there? Bamba had the best year of his career. That's relative this past season, but it was the best year he's had in the NBA. Will he get big money on the open market, or do you see Orlando being able to bring him back?
Yeah, I think he'll get a decent offer, but I think it'll probably be, given what his potential is, if he can build off what he did this year, I think it'll be a pretty team-friendly deal. And the assumption has been that he's going to leave the Magic, but I wonder if the things that we saw, especially drafting Banchero, doesn't mean that maybe they keep Bamba around. At least, whatever the offer he gets, they match it. They can look to trade him down the line. Don't know what's going to happen with Jonathan Isaac. He's kind of the lost cause in all of this. We just don't know what's going to happen with him. He might wind up being the guy who gets traded in all of this. So, I think with the way Bamba played, with what he does on defense, and the drafting of Banchero does leave open the possibility that they wind up keeping him. Maybe trade him down the line, but certainly, they're in a position now where they don't want to just lose him for nothing.
Hey, Sean, as we say goodbye, it was an interesting playoff in that it brought us back to where we were pre-COVID. And you understood, again, just how long the NBA season is. I mean, the fact that Golden State and Boston are basically going to have 90 days of an offseason, and then we're going to go back right into training camp. It is a grind if you make a deep run in the playoffs. Is the NBA ever going to look at that? I mean, I love it as much as you do, as much as any diehard NBA fan does, but I can also appreciate the fact that when a season starts in mid-October and doesn't end until mid to late June, that might be a tad long for some of these teams.
Yeah, and the league has certainly looked at that, and the one reason that they've extended it is that they've tried to eliminate as many back-to-backs as possible, and they've tried to, take away some of those high-stress situations that these players put their bodies in by playing 4 games in 5 nights. If you get rid of that, then you've got to lengthen the season. Obviously, you have to go longer into the calendar to do that, but at the same time, now you're wondering, okay, are we just really wearing these guys down? You listen to a lot of the old school guys who kind of roll their eyes at this because they played 82 and they did the back-to-backs and all of that, and that's true. But we've also learned a lot, in terms of how we can prevent injuries and how we can protect the players a little bit. It's not come to the point yet where we're talking about 72 games rather than 82. That's been a topic of conversation, but I don't think that's something that the league or that its owners are yet taking seriously. But that's probably the next frontier in all of this. Do we wind up going 75 games or something like that? That's probably where this is going to head. But right now, owners are not there at this point.
Sean Devaney, Heavy.com, has covered the NBA for many years, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Sean, have a terrific summer, man. It'll be NBA season again. Before you know it, we'll do it again when the season kicks off in October.
That's right. Thanks, Ryan.
Oh, there you go. Sean Devaney, Heavy.com, covering the National Basketball Association. He's done so for many years. Should be a really interesting offseason in the NBA with the Kyrie Irving news, Kevin Durant. What does his future hold? What about guys like Bradley Beal? What about guys like Zach LaVine? And as an Orlando Magic fan, I'm a little more okay, I guess, with Paolo Banchero. The more people you talk to, the more things you read, the more things you hear, the more I'm starting to like what Orlando did with the number 1 pick in the draft last week, adding a talent like Paolo Banchero out of Duke. That'll just about do it for a Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Certainly want to thank you guys for hanging out with us on this Monday evening. Of course, we had Zach Goodell of Sports Illustrated, all Gators on. Gator fans, take a couple of deep breaths. I know things haven't gone well in recruiting as of late, but take a couple of deep breaths. I think you're going to be all right. Let Billy Napier and his staff try to establish what it is they want to establish, and let's talk in a couple of months. But the panic that is set in with Gator Nation about the recruiting right now is a lot, particularly on social media and on message boards. One of the reasons for that, one of the guys for that panic, actually joined me tonight. Thank you to Roderick Kearney of Orange Park High School, the big-time 4-star offensive lineman who committed to Florida State over the weekend. We had him on as well, so thank you to Roderick, and best of luck to Orange Park this year in 2022. We started our NFC West preview tonight with Kevin Zimmerman of ArizonaSports.com talking about the Arizona Cardinals and what looks like a really sticky situation out there, particularly because DeAndre Hopkins is going to be out the first 6 games with a suspension. And again, Sean Devaney of Heavy.com. We were loaded tonight. We'll be loaded all week long here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Thank you, Dylan. I'm the Hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending your Monday night with us here on Hacker After Dark. We will do it all over again tomorrow on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Are you kidding me? Tuesday is our late night. Denmark and I get after it on Tuesday evenings from 10 to midnight. We hope you join us then. So for all of us on Hacker After Dark, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Monday evening, and we will talk to you 24 hours from now at 10 o'clock tomorrow night on a Tuesday. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
It starts with a great play by Tony Brackett. He knows